Why might someone want to make their own spices? Well, there are several reasons. One, you can control what goes into your spices, like being gluten free. Some of those products in the store have wheat in them as a thickener. The second reason is you can use up some of those extra spices on your shelf and keep yourself from buying more expensive pre-made spices. Many of the single spices are cheaper per ounce than the ones that are already combined. So today I'm going to share with you some more spices from my pantry that I make homemade. This is part 2 of a requested video. I hope you will stick around. I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. This is Brownie. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams. This recipe is my homemade taco seasoning, and it is from my 50 frugal recipes when cooking on a budget. That's on Amazon. The link's also in my description box. But I'm going to share it with you today. We make this homemade so that it is gluten-free, and it has 1.5 teaspoons of cumin, a half of a teaspoon of paprika, a tablespoon of chili powder, a half of a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, a fourth of a teaspoon of oregano, and a fourth of a teaspoon of onion powder. I just make this in bulk and then I keep it on my shelf to use whenever I want to use it. One of our viewers, Nancy, she uses this on her chicken and she loves it. So this is a good recipe in my opinion. I hope you enjoy it. This is my homemade chili seasoning mix, and I use this because it is gluten-free. The ones in the store have wheat in them. So it's super easy. It's also in my cookbook that's linked in the description box below, and it has 5 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 tablespoons of cumin, 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of paprika, 1.5 tablespoons of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of oregano, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Just season your chili as you desire. Again, I keep it in my jar. I need to make more of it. And this is really, really good. We just had chili this week because if you can believe it, it was snowing. Yes, I came home to freezing cold weather, 38 degrees, rain, and snow. The next recipe we're going to do is onion soup mix. I like to use this when I'm making like beef stew or braised beef over rice. And 5 tablespoons of this equals 1 package. Now, if you wanted to have beef onion soup mix, then you would add some beef bouillon to your mixture. But I never purchased that kind. I always just purchased the onion soup mix. So I am using this to flavor my beef dish. And then you can add it to any kinds of casseroles, whatever you would normally purchase that soup mix for. And this is so much less expensive. And then on the jar that I have, I just write on it that 5 tablespoons equals 1 packet so I don't forget the next time I need to use it. So for this recipe, you're going to need a half of a cup of those dried onions that you saw there in the mixture. I usually get them at Dollar Tree or Aldi, and a lot of times that one little container you buy is exactly a half of a cup, and that's how much it takes to make this little bulk mix. So a half a cup of dried onions, 3 tablespoons of parsley, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, a teaspoon of paprika, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a half of a teaspoon of sugar, just white granulated sugar, and an eighth of a teaspoon of black pepper. And you can freeze any fresh spices that you grow. My daughter grows thyme, and I just throw it in a baggie. I mark it, I stick it in the freezer, I leave the stems on it. And then when I'm ready to use it, I can just slide the leaves right off the stems. So super easy. My stepdaughter's been growing basil, and she said, "It's getting away from me. I'm having to harvest it every day and just throw it away because we have so much." And I said, "No, don't throw it away. Stick it in baggies and freeze it and give it to me." So you can especially freeze these with the little leaves on them. It's just so super easy. You don't have to go to any extra work. Just throw them in there. And then when they freeze, strip off the leaves. It's easier than when they're fresh, in my opinion. Now let's get on to our last recipe. Our next recipe is for ranch seasoning mix. Now I'm out of a couple of the ingredients, but I'm not going to let that keep me from sharing this recipe with you. Now, some people add the dried buttermilk to make it more creamy. I skip that because that product is really expensive and I don't need it for the way that I use the seasoning mix. So the recipe is 4 tablespoons of onion powder, a tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of parsley, a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of chives, which I'm out of dried chives right now, a teaspoon of white granulated sugar, and a teaspoon of dill weed. And that's all that goes into this recipe. We use it on chicken. We use it on potatoes. We use it on potato wedges, mashed potatoes. I mean, it's really good. And if you've ever made what they call chicken crack, you make chicken in a crock pot, you flake it up, you add like a block of cream cheese, which of course we can't have this when a couple of my kids are home because they're dairy free, and you add ranch seasoning, and it's delicious on a bun. It's delicious on the side, but that's one of the things that we use this for as well. Another reason that I leave that buttermilk powder out of that recipe is because I have 2 adult children that are dairy free. That way, when they visit, I don't have to try to remember, hey, they can't have that. I put buttermilk powder in it. I just omit it and it works perfectly and we don't miss it. I still do a lot of dairy-free cooking and gluten-free cooking because it suits our family. So tailor it to your needs. If you prefer putting that buttermilk powder in there to make it more creamy, by all means, go ahead. It may depend on what you're going to use it for. I use it a lot for chicken. I use it a lot for potatoes. So I don't find that I need that in there. And that buttermilk powder is really high. So let me know, do you have any seasonings that you make at home in bulk that you keep ready to go? Because I have found this has saved us a lot of money. It's kind of fun. I feel creative when I'm doing it. I feel self-sufficient. I'm always looking for ways that I can make my homestead more affordable for me to not go back to work. That's what these videos are about. And when I can find easy things like this that I can do, I feel like I am making a difference. And I know that I am making my household function on less dollars by being able to do some of these really simple tasks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Please give me a thumbs up. It helps the channel so much. Have a great day.